Okay, so let us begin. Last lecture, we were discussing about abstract classes, correct? So we saw what is an abstract class. Let's quickly recap. Abstract class. So please read these points loudly. Quick recap. So what do you mean by an abstract class? We can create both complete and incomplete non-static methods. To define non-static incomplete method, it is mandatory to use abstract keyword. In an abstract class, we can create both static, non-static members. We cannot create static, incomplete methods here, but we can create, read the further thing. All these points are clear. Okay. Now we will start with few examples and we'll try to understand, okay, abstract class, how does it work. So first example, I'll create a class A with int x and a void method. Let's try to do this here. Let's close all the tabs. Let's go to the project. And now I will here take this abstract class. Let's write here delete this part. Let's write here int, delete this, int x is equal to 10, public void and test. Now you know very well I cannot access this particular method and variable without creating object of A. Then how do I access this? So in order to access this, we will create here a class B and we will perform inheritance. We will perform what? Inheritance. So when you click on finish, you go here, observe, in this case now, we are going to type here extends A. Now observe, by doing this, in your main method, b1 is equal to new b, and we are going to write here b1 dot test, which means these methods to access, you have to do inheritance, only then you can access. Directly creating object of A, you cannot access because object creation of abstract classes are not allowed. Since the main method is here, understand now you can also put a breakpoint here like this. And if you run this in debug mode, when you run this in debug mode, you see that program will automatically stop at main method. The program will automatically stop at what? Main method. Can you see that here? Okay. So now when I do step over, it moves to the next line. Step into, it goes to that method. You see that? From where the program execution is now starting. Correct? Program started with main method. But from there we are calling test method. And then after that step over. Closing bracket. Closing bracket. So you will go back to the place from where it is called stop at next line. This method is called from here stop at next line. Now print b1.x 10 closing bracket of main, program stops. Analyze the program. Did you understand how we did debugging here? Yes, everyone? Okay. Observe the program once slowly. Then we'll take more examples and then start with exceptions concept. Okay, fine. The next example now will create an interface and inherit that method to B. And then from B, we will implement that to C. So this inheritance, which I'm going to do, will be from interface A. I will inherit that to abstract class B, and from there I'll inherit that to multi-level inheritance is what we will be doing it. Fine. Let's start with interface A. So how do I change this class to interface? Simply change like this. And since it's an interface, put one abstract method, name that as test1. Is this clear? Abstract keyword is optional. You want to keep it, keep it. If you remove also, it will work. It's optional. Here also you can write abstract keyword. It will still work. That's optional. Now here I will do one thing. This particular class B implements A. There is an error because you are inheriting incomplete method. But now I will use error is gone. Is there any error now? Because incomplete methods are allowed in abstract class. In abstract class, create another incomplete method. So how many methods are present in abstract class? Huh? Two methods. Which are the two methods present in abstract class? Which are the two methods present in abstract class? We have test1 and test2. Now let's go here and let's create, right click, new, let's create a class C. Hit on enter. Now, which keyword will you use? Tell me. Which keyword are you going to use now? Okay, let's see that here. So I'm going to now use here extends because we are inheriting from a abstract class. Why there's an error? Incomplete methods, we will have to add that here. Done. We are now printing 1, and here we are now printing 2. To now format your code, just click on the file, Control Shift F. Okay, and that will format the code. And now main method. Let's call this C1 is equal to new C1 dot test1, C1 dot test2. Right click, run as. Okay, main method is present in class C. So class C is what going to run, gives us the output. Analyze the program. Everybody got this? Able to understand? Yes. Even if you debug, you'll put a breakpoint here because program execution will start from main. Wherever main is, program has to start executing from there. So now let us click on debug. Okay. Now see what is the next step? Step over, step into. You see that? Then step over, then again step into, then step over, closing bracket, go to the place from where it is called, stop at next line. Main method closing bracket stops. So whole program execution is here. Are you understanding? Okay. Let's continue. Now, another important note, in Java 8, we can develop complete static methods and main methods in an interface. So in your interface, complete static methods development is allowed. Example, let's close this. Let's close this. Abstract is optional. Now, developing a main method is allowed here, which was earlier not possible, but now static methods are allowed. int x is equal to 10. This is by default static and final. You can also build static complete methods. Understand? Public static test, and you're building here complete methods. Okay, SYSO 1, and now SYSO capital A dot X, and let's write capital A dot test. Run as Java application and see this here 10 and then what? 1. 10 and then what? 1. Did you understand? Everyone clear with this part? Any doubts, questions, queries do you have here? Please tell me. Okay, did you understand this point? Read this point. Analyze. Okay, now let's continue further. Now we are going to start with a concept called as exception and exception handling in Java. So what do you mean by exception and what do you mean by exception handling? Let's understand this quickly. Okay, so exception is an unexpected event. Forget about Java. What is unexpected event? For example, you're walking, suddenly there was water, you slipped and fell down. You never expected that, correct? You never expected that today while I'm walking out, I'm going to slip and fall down. Okay, you slipped. That event was unexpected in your life. There are so many events in your life which is unexpected. These unexpected events that occurs in your life is called as exception. Example, he's taking my class, suddenly projector fell on his head and he forgot complete Java now. Right? Not only Java, he forgot everything. His name, from where he is, what it is, everything. That was an unexpected event for us, yes or no? He never predicted that this is going to happen with me. I will go all the way to Bangalore to learn Java, and my mind turned out to be now abstract, incomplete, unexpected event. These unexpected events are called as exception. Same way, when you basically are running some programs, some applications, an unexpected event might occur. Example, I'm using Telegram app. Yeah. Now Telegram app, when you're using it, suddenly it freezes and crashes. I never expected this. That today at 12:02 p.m. this app is going to freeze and crash. This was an unexpected event while using that software, which has crashed the application. Like this, you notice an unexpected event happened recently with Air India. Correct? You know, the flight took off and then an unexpected event occurred. There was a failure. We never expected at this time this what is going. There was some failure. There was some failure. Correct? These unexpected events that I am talking about at software level, when it occurs, they are called as exception. I'm using Excel, entering data, Excel freezes, and I'm not able to use Excel at all. Exceptions will stop your program from executing further. Understand, in simple terminology, unexpected events are called as exceptions. When exceptions occur, they will halt your program execution. Exception will occur when a bad user input is given. Correct? For example, when this Air India flight it took off, there was some switch. They have a black box which finally tells what went wrong. And they found out that there was a switch in that particular plane which disconnected the fuel. The thing is now, they never expected, if the fuel disconnection has happened, the plane itself should not be allowed to get started. They have to release that switch, and only then they should have let the plane to get started. Example, I don't come from that background. I'm just putting my layman term thoughts and telling you. Okay? If that exception that handled, correct? When that fuel supply to the engine is disconnected, the takeoff the flight should not happen. The flight itself should not get started. Right? The software should have basically analyzed the complete circuit, and they should have got one alarm triggered in their plane that look, the fuel injections are disconnected, hence you cannot start your flight itself. That was exception handling. But exception is, even when the fuel supply stopped with a limited fuel which the engine had already got, right, with that the plane started, took off happened, but that shouldn't have happened at all. It should have immediately stopped with an braking system telling that you cannot move the flight only further. Like in some car it happens. Okay? If the door is open, the car only doesn't get started. Yeah? If the door is open, the car does not get started. So there is an exception handling scenario. So this is exception handling. Exception stops, exception handling handles that exception and makes your program continue further. But when does this occur? So we have certain examples. We'll understand that here now with an example. See this now. I'm creating one variable int x is equal to 10. Now I cannot divide that number by 0. Suppose I'm dividing 10, okay, by 0. And now further, I'm expecting my program to run. I'm expecting my program to what? Run. Okay. So let's select this all like this, drag and drop. You can drag and drop the code like this. Control Shift F. Okay. And now observe what's happening. Observe what's happening. I'm going to print here main. I'm going to print here main. Now in this case, when I divide a number by 0, that's a bad user input. Do you agree with that now? When the bad user input is given, the program will halt at line 8. And because of that, the further code line number 9 will not execute. Observe, is it printing main? It just stopped at which line? Why did this exception occur at the first place? This exception occurred because a bad user input is given. Most of the times exceptions they occur for a reason because bad user inputs are supplied. For example, you go to that cash deposit machine. You're depositing cash. Suddenly one rubber band came in between. That was a bad user input. The counting has to stop and return the money back. But if the machine itself stops, it's neither returning money, neither depositing it, which means you have not handled the exception properly. Right now, exception is occurring, I'm not handling it. Then how do I handle this exception? The next question arises, how do I handle this exception? In order to handle this exception, we will use here a try block, and then we will use here a catch block. We will use a try catch block. Now, if any line, let's say these are all the lines of code that I've got it, in my try block. I have got line 1, then I've got line 2, then I've got line 3, then I've got line 4, and then I've got line 5. Okay. Now let's assume An exception occurred at line number 3. Which line number? Line number 3. Here is where something went wrong. Here is where something went wrong. A bad user input has caused me what? Exception. Now when an exception occurs at this line, automatically from here the control will go to catch block. Whichever line number the exception occurs, from that line number the control will directly go to catch block, which means this line will not run, this line will not run. Control from here directly it will go to. Now catch block is the one that will handle the exception. Who will handle the exception? Once exception is handled, now further code will continue to what? Run. Are you understanding now? Okay. So this code will run only when at this step you're handling the exception. Now how to handle the exception? See this here. One basic way to do that, I'll use a try catch block, paste this in here, and now you see what will happen. I'll explain the code here in a more detailed manner. Understand. Exception will occur at this particular line number. Exception will occur at this particular line number. When an exception occurs at this line, this will create one exception object. When an exception occurs at this particular line, the try block is creating one exception object. Automatically exception object is created when line number 9 causes exception, and that exception object's address is given to E. E here is a reference variable of the type exception. Are you understanding now? Automatically that object's address is given to E. E here is a reference variable that holds exception object's address, and now this will handle the exception. Since the exception is handled, further it will print main, which it was not doing earlier. Earlier it was not printing main, but now when I run, observe, because the exception that occurred, that exception when occurs, try block creates an exception object. That object's address is given to catch block. Catch block suppresses that exception and further code continues to execute. That's called as exception handling. So when exception occurs, our code should be capable to handle that exception. That's where the concept exception and exception handling, we have it here. Is this clear? Tell me, what is exception now? Read this. Read this. Was it halting? It was not printing main. Yes or no? Now, is this clear? Now see this. The program stops at which line? So these lines will not execute. Okay. Now what is exception handling? Make sense? Now we did that here. There is a try and catch block. Exception occurs at this line. So from this line, it will directly go to, we'll see what is this. It will go to catch block. Catch block will suppress exception and further it will continue to print welcome. Okay. Now see, when I now here just print e dot get message, what this will do now, this will get me exception message. Why this exception occurred? It will give me the message. If I now run this, observe here, it is now giving me, you have made an attempt to divide the number by 0, hence an exception occurred, and further it is printing main. Which means if you want to get the exception message, then in that case, you people will have to use e dot get message. By doing this, I got the reason for exception. Can you see that here? Can you see that here? Yes. Observe. Observe carefully. Yeah. But now it's not giving me the line number. If you don't know the line number where the problem is, will you be able to resolve the problem in future? No. So just getting the reason for exception is not enough. We require the exact line number where exception has occurred. And in order to get the line number and message, we use this stack trace. Prints this throwable and it's backtrace to the standard error system. This method prints a stack trace. Stack trace means it will give me exact line number where exception has occurred. Can you see? Am I able to see the line number? Is it 9? Click on this. Click on this. If you know the line number where exception occurred, then only you can fix the exception. Yes or no? So to get the exact line number, what I did here? Did you understand this now? What happened? Yes? Everyone clear with this part? Now, what happens is when you're working on a large projects with thousands and thousands of lines of code, the first thing is you have to find out where that line is, where the problem has occurred. Identifying that line where the problem has occurred will all start with debugging. Are you understanding? Students, what they do? Since they don't know debugging, they struggle. They don't know where the problem is. If you don't know where the problem is, how will you give the solution? Like patient and doctor. When a patient visits a hospital, the doctor will first do full inspection. He will check all the vitals, BP, this, that, everything, reports. Then finally, based on the reports, he identify the problem. Once the problem is identified, then for that root cause of the problem, he gives a solution. So debugging is all about that. Tomorrow, when there is any bug, defect in your application, first job of debugging is to find that line number where the problem is. Second, at that line number, what problem is occurring. If these two information you have today in AI era, if you have only these two information today in AI era, fixing defect will be straightforward. Pick these two information, put that in chat GPT, and that will directly give you solution. You need not even think more. Earlier it was not like that. We had to use stack overflow and things like that. But students, what they do, they think chat GPT has God. So they'll put the whole code itself in that. No. I'll teach you a lot of shortcuts further. Even if in company you're not allowed to use chat GPT, still you can use it. Are you understanding? Company will tell in your systems, AI tools access denied. No problem. I can still teach you how to use chat GPT effectively and resolve the problem without even opening up an AI tool in your system. Are you understanding? But for that, the first skill you have to develop is identifying the line number where the problem is. And when you identify the line number at that line, what the problem is, where the problem is, what the problem is, then you work on solution. Then AI tool will give you right answer. If you ask wrong questions or incorrect questions, AI tool will not give you proper answers. The way we ask the question, it all depends on that how AI tools are going to respond. Is this clear? Okay. So I want you people to quickly observe this program once. Which this line number exception occurred. It prints the line number and then prints welcome. Very good. Now guys, this is a very big and lengthy concept. So now we are going to look at types of exceptions in Java. So we have something called as types of exceptions in Java. Okay. So what are these types of exception? So whenever we are running any Java program, you know that there are two steps. The first step is all about compile the program. We have already discussed about this earlier. Yes or no? Compile the program. And the second step is all about you run your program. Now, exception occurs in two places. If your exception occurs, during compilation, then it is called as checked exception or compile time exception. When is it called as compile time exception? When you compile your program and you get an exception, they're called as compile time or checked exception. But in case if your exception occurs when you run the program, then they're called as unchecked exception or runtime exception. What are the categories of exception? Yes. So now I want you people to carefully read these definitions. There are two types of exceptions in Java. What is the first one? Now what is this compile time? These exceptions will occur when .java file is compiled to, that is during compilation we will get this exception. Second, did you understand that now? Now further we will have to explore all the exception class hierarchy. We'll give a pause here for today, being Friday. Even I'll take the class little lightly because in my mind only holiday is going on, Saturday and Sunday tomorrow. So even I will relax and come back on Monday. Is this clear? Yes. So see you again tomorrow, guys. Okay. We are going at very excellent speed. We are still on the 19th class of Java. Got it? And if you notice, the speed of coverage is going good. Practice well. Is this clear? And don't judge my classes. See, alumni meet I will take. Give me time. Reason is, if I keep alumni meet, that day my Saturday is gone. My half of the day on Saturday is gone. Because minimum 2-3 hours I have to, and I have to only conduct. I don't have any other fellow to conduct the alumni meet. So let's wait. Let this new year everything get over. Right? Students also will be in holiday mood. Whoever has got placed now, they'll be little relaxed. Christmas, New Year, and things like that. We'll keep alumni meet in Jan month. Is this clear? Don't think placements are not happening. Placements are happening. Yesterday alone we had 6 placements. Yesterday alone. Numbers are documented outside. So whatever I tell, they're all documented with mobile numbers. Okay, yesterday alone we had 6 people getting placed. So results are going decent way. But yes, comparatively this month is going to be on the lower side a bit because of the holiday season. Right? You might not see as what we saw probably November or October. December months, slowly placements will be slightly lesser, some 15-20%. Jan month, again the placement starts picking up because that's where what happens, holiday season, everything comes to an end. People now, all HR would have gone, booked long vacations, right? So especially Bangalore market gets impacted at this time. But if you look at Mumbai market, placements at this time is also good. You will see interview also good. And if you want to crack interview in easy way, then try for Mumbai. Mumbai interviews are very easy. Okay? Very simple and very easy. But Bangalore interviews are, and it's seasonal. Like holiday happens, our Bangalore crowd is very lazy. So what they do is, moment they get holiday, 10 days holiday, go out. Mumbai crowd is not like that. One day before Christmas also, they'll keep working only. It is like that. Okay? Bye guys. Take care. See you again in the next class on Monday.